We're all here, Steve. You ready to go?
Okay,
Think we're on.
shall we begin?
Yes.
Okay, I'll read the opening statement. This is a regular meeting of the Princeton Zoning Board of Adjustment being held electronically via Zoom on January 28, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. Pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given by prominently posting the sunshine notice of the Princeton Zoning Board of Adjustment. Such notice has been placed on the official bulletin board at the municipal complex and by transmitting a copy of the notice to the Princeton Packet, Town Topics, the Time, Trentonian, and by filing a copy with the clerk of Princeton on January 23rd, 2026, and has been posted to the municipal website, www.princetonnj.gov/meetings. Pursuant to Executive Order 107, due to the state of emergency in New Jersey regarding COVID-19 coronavirus, notice that during the declared state of emergency, all regular and special meetings of the Princeton Zoning Board of Adjustment will be held electronically via Zoom, was transmitted to the Princeton Packet, Town Topics, and the Times, and was filed with the clerk of Princeton on the 24th day of April 2020. Such notices have been placed. Such notices have been placed on the official bulletin board at the municipal complex and on the Princeton website, and are to be maintained throughout the year. And by transmitting a copy of same to the Princeton Packet, Town Topics, the Times, Trentonian, Comcast Media, and by filing a copy thereof with the clerk of Princeton. Notices have been placed on all windowed doors of the municipal complex. Okay. So let us begin. Claudia, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Chen,
Here.
Ms. Coulson,
Here.
Mr. Floyd,
Here.
Mr. Shriver,
Here.
Mr. Tenenbaum,
Here.
Mr. Stein,
Here.
Ms. Donna,
Yes.
Mr. Dockin,
Here.
Chairman Cohen.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. We have three resolutions which were in your packets. We can go through those. The first is case number Z25-698, 15 Hillside Road, Block 7207, Lot 4 in the R6T zone. If anybody has any questions, comments, or changes necessary, please come forward. If not, if someone would like to make a motion,
Board
please.
members, I do have a correction I need to make. Several times in the resolution, there's a reference to a concrete wall, which is going to be added as part of the stormwater management plan. That have to make sure it's clear. It's a 5-inch wall. So that needs to be corrected. It appears, I think, on page 3 of the resolution, and it may appear again somewhere else. So that's the revision that I'd like to suggest.
I also saw on that same page 3, the second paragraph seems to be missing something. The second sentence of the second paragraph.
Second sentence.
The proposed additions will change the something, probably follows there.
Oh, good point.
Well, I think you have to change the architectural style, take out geopine.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
I think that, because it's a Cape Cod now and it's going to like the 2-story.
Yep, that's correct. Okay.
And a small correction, my name is spelled wrong.
I apologize. Okay.
Okay. So, board members, any additional comments, or would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second, Floyd.
Thank you. Okay. Claudia, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Chen,
Yes,
Ms. Coulson,
Yes.
Mr. Floyd,
Yes.
Mr. Shriver,
Yes.
Ms. Donna,
Yes.
Mr. Dobkin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, our next resolution is case number Z25-693, 6 Evelyn Place, block 34.01, lot 7, in the R3B zone. Again, the resolution was in your packet. Questions, comments, or motions, please?
I'll move to approve it.
Excuse me?
Oh, I move to approve.
Okay,
I'll second it. Colson.
thank you. Claudia, please call the roll.
Ms. Chen,
Yes,
Ms. Coulson,
Yes.
Mr. Floyd,
Yes.
Mr. Shriver,
Yes.
Ms. Donna,
Yes.
Mr. Dobkins.
Yes.
Thank you.
I wasn't here for that one, I guess.
Right.
Okay. Okay, our third resolution is case number Z25-709, 416 North Harrison, block 7202, lot 7 in the R6T zone. Again, the resolution is in your packets. Questions, comments, or motions?
I move to approve it.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Who's second? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Schreiber.
Claudia, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Chen,
yes,
Ms. Coulson,
Yes.
Mr. Floyd,
Yes.
Mr. Shriver,
Yes.
Mr. Dobkin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we have 3 hearings tonight. I understand that there's an issue with the first one, 164 Prospect.
Board members, the applicant has advised that they have now retained an attorney to represent them. That attorney has asked that the matter be carried to the February 11th meeting, because unfortunately he had conflict with another matter tonight.
Okay. Derek, do you think we're going to have time to hear that application with 344 Nassau Street?
We'll know better in a couple days.
Okay, so we really can't make a determination yet?
No.
Well, the problem though is that if it isn't carried to a specific date, we don't announce that tonight, then the applicant's going to need to renotice
Well, we'll carry to the next.
to the 11th, and then
11th,
that
yeah.
will, okay, all right.
Okay.
Claudia, Ryan Kennedy raised his hand.
I think it's okay now.
Okay. I'm sorry, Karen, I talked over you. So what?
No, that's okay. So I think that it appears everyone's in agreement that 164 Prospect will be carried to February 11th. And if it's necessary to carry it again, then that would be announced at the beginning of the February 11th meeting. And we would be in touch with the applicant and their attorney in advance of that, if it turns out that it needs to be carried again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good. Okay, our second hearing of the evening is case number Z25-715, 45 Markham Road, block 53.03, lot 43 in the R3B zone. Karen, are all the notices in order?
They are, and the board has jurisdiction tonight. And I'm just going to swear Derek in for the evening. Derek, do you swear or affirm your testimony this evening will be truthful?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And
Thank
board members, I believe that we do have a court reporter here for the next application, not this one. I don't know. Ryan, do they need to be carried over? Or they can just listen in the background.
For the second application, I'll ask perhaps that she be brought over, but for this one,
Okay.
wouldn't be necessary.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Karen, actually, Taylor's gonna introduce this case, so if you could swear her in as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Taylor, do you swear or affirm your testimony this evening will be truthful?
I do.
Thank you.
One second, Ryan, who needs to be moved over? I
see you moved over our architect, Jeff Fleischer. Also,
he declined to be a panelist, so we cannot see him.
Oh, what?
perhaps maybe you could move him out and he may have accepted.
Okay.
And Mr. Beck as well, the applicant, is I see in the attendees. If you can move him over as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Gribben, can you summarize the memo?
Absolutely, I can.
Thank you.
Again, this memo is for 45 Markham Road, block 5303, lot 43 in the R3B zone. Mr. Beck is the owner and applicant. The applicant is proposing to convert the existing non-compliant front-facing garage to living space. The conversion eliminates the one required parking space. The applicant is proposing to utilize the existing driveway for the required parking space. The proposed space does not comply with the required 25-foot front yard setback. The proposal also includes the raising and reconfiguration of the attic. The attic currently encroaches into the side yard setback, and the alteration is considered an increase in the existing degree of noncompliance regarding the larger and combined side yard setbacks. The subject property, again, is in the R3B zone and is subject to the use and bulk regulations in accordance with that zone. The subject lot is not compliant with the following bulk requirements: the lot area, the lot width, the large left side yard setback, and the combined side yard setback. The subject property does not fall within a locally designated historic district. And to go into the variances, the applicant is proposing to convert the existing non-compliant built-in front-facing garage to living area consisting of a mudroom, a powder room, and a living room expansion. A side stoop providing access to the mudroom area is also proposed. A converted rear and covered porch are also proposed. Both the stoop and the porches encroach into the required side yard setback, but they are exempt pursuant to section B17A 403 L2F, which allows covered but unenclosed porches to encroach within 4 feet of the side yard setback. The R3 zone requires 1 parking space. The applicant is proposing to utilize the existing driveway for the required parking space. The section B17A 403 L4A requires front parking setbacks to be 25 feet or from the front of the house, whichever is less. The existing attic roof, which has a side-facing gable, will be removed and the height of the attic floor will be increased. A new roof with a front-facing gable and 3 dormers is proposed. The extension of the attic area will serve as the primary bedroom and bath suite. The southern elevation of the attic encroaches within the required larger side yard setback. The increase in the height within that setback is considered an increase in the existing degree of noncompliance. If any of the board members have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'm gonna confess that I didn't really understand the end of the sentence, which stated requires front parking setbacks to be 25 feet or the front of the house. That last part was puzzling to me.
So the parking setback is 25 feet from the front property line.
Or the setback of the house, whichever is less. That was a typo that I missed on this one, so.
Oh.
So.
Okay,
So it's,
I think I understand that now.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much. I guess, Mr. Kennedy, please begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, Ryan Kennedy from Stevens and Lee here for the applicants, the Beck family. Claudia, I'll just note the applicant, when he logged in, was getting an error with his camera. He's going to return back in a moment from a phone so we can make sure he has a working camera and we can have him testify. If it takes that more than another minute, perhaps I'll have our expert qualified first. But just to make sure things keep moving for everyone here this evening.
Sure.
With that, though, I want to thank Taylor and Derek for their summary and working with the applicant here. What you will hear tonight is an undersized and a lot with a significant width issue. Where 60 feet is required, there is only 42 feet. You'll see that prior to I guess they're not so recent anymore, neighborhood character revisions to Princeton zoning code, a home was allowed to be built on this narrow lot with a front protruding garage. As I'm sure you hear quite a bit, and we're involved in that process, the newer, not so new anymore, code really put a lot of thought into how garages work, and where as a front-facing garage needs to be set back now 16 feet from the front facade, this one actually protrudes in front of the front facade. What the applicant is proposing is a redesign and expansion, modest expansion of their home to allow this existing protruding front-facing garage to be removed and replaced with living space designed to look like the rest of their front porch, and to add a front porch that the neighborhood really kind of expects in an inviting, less car-centric way. Because the lot is so narrow, you will see that there is no other place to park other than the front driveway. So our proposal is to allow that front yard parking. We'll talk through both the detriments to the other parking potentials. You know, for example, a driveway on the back, while it both doesn't work and would remove a lot of greenery, it's just not wide enough to allow for that other parking. And I know this board has dealt with front yard parking in the past, looked at cases where it was possible, for example, to do it, but that will show that that's both not the case here, and the change from the existing front protruding garage to a design that eliminates that, gets rid of that conformity, is, we hope you find, much beneficial visually and for the neighborhood. We'll also talk a little bit about that there is some examples of this type of parking arrangement on other lots in the neighborhood. It would not be out of character, despite it being limited really to this lot as our request, this unique narrow lot. And then you also heard there are technically two other variances. The existing home has existing side yard setback conditions. By adjusting the sidewalls up slightly, that technically does require us to get those variances, but that really is the existing condition, and again, a result of this quite narrow lot. I'm looking in the audience, and I do see the applicant on twice. I'll ask if you could push the raised hand button. Perhaps we can identify which one is the one with the working camera phone, and we can have him moved over. Hopefully we got the right one, and indeed we did. Thank you. You know, is not to say I was prolonging my introduction to make sure his camera worked, but turns out the timing worked just right. So if possible, We'll have two witnesses this evening, Ms. Casey, if we want to. They're both on, both Mr. Beck and Mr. Fleischer, if we want to perhaps have them both sworn in, if you'd like. They're
Well, if
available.
they, could you unmute yourself, Mr. Beck? Great.
Yes, done.
Do you both swear or affirm your testimony this evening will be truthful?
I do. I do.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Apologies for the bit of technical mishaps, but so glad you were able to get on and join us tonight. If you could just briefly introduce yourself to the board. I know this is only recently the home that you've owned, but you've got a lot of experience here prior to purchasing. So just connect yourself to this board in terms of your time here in Princeton and this home.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, Ryan, and thanks a lot to all of you for your time. I apologize for the hiccup on the video, but it worked out in the end. I appreciate your patience. So my name is Mikkel Beck. I'm a Danish citizen, but have lived outside of Denmark for the last 12 years. I work for a pharmaceutical company here in the area that is a Danish pharmaceutical company, and have lived around the world for the last 12 years. I've been living in Princeton before, from 2022 to 24. Then I moved away and came back. And actually, when I lived here last, I lived in the very exact house we are talking about as a tenant with my daughter, who then was 6 years old, who is now 9. So she started in school here in Princeton at Riverside. And you could say we both gained a quite strong affection to the area, but due to my work, we had to leave in 24 for a project I had to do abroad, but decided to come back this year because of my daughter and her strong desire to return to the area, and mine as well. And then happened to be that the house we used to live in was on the market, and after some considerations and also conversations with good advisors, decided to buy it with the prospects that we are now also presenting to you today, to propose a few changes to the house that better fits the needs of us, but that we also think largely fits with the look and the feel of the neighborhoods that we are being part of, and the community that we know well. Among the many great people on the road and the school and the whole Riverside neighborhood that we are now rejoined. So I hope that answers your question, Ryan, and nice to meet you all again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Mr. Chairman, if it's all right, we have one exhibit that we had provided. If it's all right for me to share my screen, we can have that marked as our one exhibit this evening. It is 17 slides, I believe.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will, famous last
Excuse
words.
me, Mr. Kennedy, do you want to qualify the architect? I mean, it's routine, but do you want to do that?
Absolutely, we can do that now. We'll start with Mr. Beck with a little bit of testimony, but Mr. Fleischer, if you could, I know you're often before this board, but I won't stop you. They may going through your qualifications, and I'll have you qualify this evening.
Right. It's Jeff Fleischer, architect. I've been a practicing architect in New Jersey since 1997. I have a bachelor's in architecture from NJIT. I'm licensed in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. And I've appeared in front of this board many times.
We will accept you as an expert. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Jeff, don't go too far, but we'll start with Mr. Beck. I'll go back and add our exhibits back up to the screen. So as we normally do, try to orient the board a little bit as to where we are in Princeton. Miguel, is that white arrow pointing to your property as we kind of zoom in?
It is, yes.
Then moving to slide 3, this is a aerial that we get from a service we have called Kinetic Explorer. That blue box is your property is as well on Markham?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. Next, going to slide 4. The left is a photo of your home, from the front, and to the right, that's another aerial close in, kind of showing the property. Do I have that right?
Correct, yes.
Now, and so looking at the home from the front, we in the introduction, you may not have heard it as you were logging back in, but we talked about that front protruding garage. That's the item there on the right where often people park near, I suppose.
Yes, correct, yeah.
And to the left, we'll have some other photos here, but I think you could see there's a large tree that kind of is in front of that gate that's to the bit of the left part of your property that might kind of head back to the back.
Yes, correct.
So moving to slide 5, I believe these are a couple of examples you helped us find of, I'll just call it front yard parking in the neighborhood. Those properties to the left, those are a kind of duplex that's right across the street from you. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
No, and on the right side, that's the property next door.
That's the next door neighbor, yeah.
Okay. Kind of finishing out, I have a couple more here on slide 6, but these are other properties, around the corner, I suppose. Other examples of front yard parking in the neighborhood.
Yes, correct.
Next on slide 7, I believe you're in some of these photos, but maybe just talk a little bit about what we're looking at here, particularly the features of the property that you remember and came back to. And I'm specific the greenery and that tree in particular. I guess in some of those photos you could really see the size of that tree that's on the left side of your house.
Yes, so these are some picture of me and my daughter on her first day of school to the top left, and then you have my brother and his extended family, I would say, in the middle, who came and visited from Europe. And these are then taken summer days where you see some of the green, and especially in the front, say that big tree that I think is an important part of the feel of the house, and that we would of course like to sustain. And as you also see to the backyard, a relatively small backyard, right? But and also just with one big tree in this picture that has actually been unfortunately removed since and before I moved in for reasons that I'm not aware of. So unfortunately not so many trees, but we have this in the front that we're very happy about.
And before we get to your architect and the plans, maybe just take a minute, just talk about the needs of your family. This is a pretty modest home as it is, but your plans to renovate and particularly kind of reclaim and reuse that front part of your property with a porch and the kind of awkward garage space that sticks out in front.
Yeah. So if we start with the porch, so that's something that we asked quite early on when we looked at the house, if it would be feasible, both you can say to better match the way we think houses look and should look in the neighborhood, and many houses have that little porch. And then on the garage side, it is a small one-car garage today, right? So you can say effectively there is always 1 or 2 cars parked in the front, but the living room today is very small, very narrow, and difficultly fits the needs of our family. My wife, for health reasons, is currently based in another country and travels to and from the country. So most of the time I'm alone with my daughter, and the way the house is set up now means that it's difficult to interact because it's sort of small boxes downstairs, and the garage add to that, you can say, closed downstairs feel. And the idea that we have is really to try to open up the downstairs area, including the garage, to a large space that includes an open kitchen environment to living room, where you can have a more and better interaction between family members and friends, and then also have a mud room in the entrance, because today you don't have any entrance. You go straight into the already small living room, right? So that's really the idea of it, and to ensure that we have a better interaction and better space for living together and being together as a family. So that's the comments to the downstairs, at least, Jeff.
Thank you so much. Before I move to our architect, Mr. Chairman, I'll certainly pause if there's any questions for the applicant. I know he's not going anywhere. If they come up later as well. But
Board members, any questions of Mr. Beck?
I have one.
Sure.
Do you ever park in the garage now?
No, only if I'm away.
Yeah, okay. You don't use it as a normal parking.
No. So normally I park outside on the front.
Thank you.
I have one question, Mr. Beck. How many cars does your family own?
We currently have one, and then are purchasing another one.
Okay, and where would you park the second car?
So as you see in the photo here, there's space to park two cars next to each other in the front, in the already existing driveway.
Well, I noticed in one of the pictures that the minivan was close to the side yard property line, and there was a row of hedges in there. In your site plan, it looked like there were additional hedges. I don't know, the big hedge is your neighbor's, I assume? Or is that yours?
Yeah, I think actually to be honest, I'm not completely sure of that, as I believe it is our hedge, as I recall the drawings, but maybe Ryan or Jeff can recall that.
When, Mr. Chairman, a good question. I can either skip to that now with Jeff, and we can pull up the site plan if you'd like, or we can
Okay,
get it
well,
when
we can hear Mr. Fleischer and we'll discuss it then.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Beck.
In the one drawing you've given us, it is on your property. The hedge is on your property.
Yes, I'll just note, well, we'll get to it with testimony, but yeah, they're on the property, and they're not new, they're existing, and we've got a couple other photos of them.
Okay,
Quite significant.
fine, continue.
All right. Thank you so much. Jeff, moving to slide 8. Look, I know you were already introduced and accepted as an expert, but maybe just briefly, the board heard from the applicant what the charge was here, but maybe you could take the board through what you were asked to do and your approach to this property. And I'll just note slide 8, I believe, has the current elevation to the left with the non-conforming front-facing garage, and the proposal on the right, which has that large front porch and I guess I'll call it filled-in front porch look where the garage used to be.
Right. Well, the client, as part of his program, wanted an open floor plan as much as possible on the first floor. The existing family room was only about 10 feet wide. So the only way, without adding footprint to the house, was to make that wider, was to take the garage over for a mudroom and additional space for the family room.
And obviously, you could not have gone wider here with an addition without also violating the existing side yard setbacks, right?
That's right. Yeah. And then the existing attic, the roof slope was too low to provide for living space on the attic level, so that's why we removed the roof and reorientated the pitch of the roof to the front, provided dormers to provide space for the primary suite in the attic level.
So I guess moving with slide 9, these are the existing elevations. I think in the top right, if I have it correctly, that's that existing front bump out for the
garage.
For the garage that we're looking to replace and remove. And then slide 10, this has the proposed elevations. And one thing that was a bit of a, I'll say not back and forth, not the right word, but it just kind of confusion on the notes, almost, I don't want to say too well hidden, but ultimately that what you've created on the top left with that traditional looking front porch that encompasses both the front porch and what I guess is designed to look like a enclosed front porch, essentially on the right side.
Right. The area, the porch on the right-hand side is actually where the garage protrusion was. So the new porch roof covers that, as well as the new open porch to the left.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hidden as a design element to kind of reclaim that garage that way. Here on slide 11, this is the existing floor plans and the proposed. Just talk through a little bit about what I guess
Yeah,
the
so you can see
first floor challenges with that garage there.
Yeah, the first floor with the garage on the right-hand side, the garage was actually wider than the existing living room. But it was only about a 12-foot wide garage, which is really not adequate to park in and get out of your car. So we combined the living room and the garage into one room. As you can see in the proposed first floor plan. And then opened up the floor plan as much as we could. So you'd have circulation around the house through the kitchen and dining room. And then provided a small rear porch to the backyard.
And we are talking about the existing side yard setbacks. Let me just go back a page or two slides perhaps on the existing and proposed. I believe while the overall house is slightly taller, it does seem that you were able to kind of hide that attic in a pretty traditional looking front gable design rather than that kind of low slung existing.
Yeah, and it's reminiscent of the houses in the neighborhood with finished attics with dormers and gables.
That's slide 8. Now we'll go back a couple of slides. So here, and I think, Mr. Chairman, this may be where you were looking or thinking before. So this is the slide 12 on the left is kind of the site plan, so to speak, that shows those existing hedgerows both on the right that shield the one neighboring property and the front actually does a nice job of screening the property as well as that tree. We'll go this a little bit more detail, but I guess the blue, there's a non-conforming side yard there, and on the right, both which we believe are not adequate for driveways on such a narrow lot and would require removal of a lot of these green features. We did on slide 13 kind of pencil in what, even though we don't believe you can actually fit back there, what it would mean to pave all that area. Again, we don't believe cars would really fit or that it would be used, but that's what would kind of turn the yard into as well. And this also, even though, again, we don't think it's the width that would fit, would also require a setback variance for a driveway that's supposed to be 3 feet from the yard. To even attempt to make it work, you'd have to go right up to the edge and need a variance for that as well. Similarly, just the notes from the code here, you're supposed to be 3 feet. And so, with the minimum distance for a size for a driveway, really, Jeff, in your mind, would it work? Could you even open a door or get a car back there?
No, you really couldn't. No.
We also just looked at, if, again, assuming it would physically work, which we don't believe it would, here's the things that we'd kind of lose there. That tree would have to be removed, that hedge would be removed. There's a couple of other, I'll just say, problems on this side between a telephone pole that's probably in the way and a water shutoff that would all have to be moved as well. So going to slide 16 here, we've kind of marked up those pieces that with either, if it were somehow, again, we don't believe there's room on the right side at all, what would be removed to do that? And similarly, what would be removed to try to squeeze something on the left if there was enough room? And both of which things that the applicant very much desires not to do, and we think would be a negative to do so. In summary, let me just ask if there's any other questions for our architect. I'm happy to very briefly summarize.
I have one. What's the dimension between the hedgerow and the new front walkway and steps?
the dimension between the existing hedgerow along the street or the one on
No, on the side yard. Between the
Ah.
hedgerow on the right-hand side and the walkway to the left of the existing driveway.
it's about 27 feet,
How much is it?
27 feet, I believe,
That's 27 feet.
from the sidewalk from the front door to the edge of the hedgerow.
No, from the running right to left.
But
From right to left, from the walkway
from
to the
from the
hedge.
edge of the walkway, yes, to the edge
Yes,
of
the width, right.
the hedgerow. Yeah, I think it's about.
Well, Jeff, the whole lot is
I'm sorry,
42.
it's about 20 feet. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yep, it's about 20 feet.
So it's big enough for two cars?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So with that, I want to appreciate the board's time this evening. We hope you agree. This is from a C1 perspective, this is an unusually narrow lot where there is significant benefit in removing the variance condition from the front protruding garage. We hope you agree that there's no real alternative location for the parking on the site. It just really, unfortunately, not just wouldn't be a better use, it just wouldn't physically fit. And I'll just note that the couple of benefits that this supports from the municipal land use law sections A, C, G, H in particular, which is the transportation to promote the flow of traffic and discouraging blight or congestion. And again, looking back to the extensive work that was done in Princeton on front-facing garages. So it's a balance here between removing that and the front yard parking setback. We believe this is not just better or not just not a detriment, but a better solution, again, on a lot that is quite narrow, where 60 feet is required, only 42 is available. So we hope that you agree that removing this non-conforming condition and replacing it with the front yard parking will be a positive. With that,
Okay, I have one more question of the architect. Sorry.
Sure.
Did you consider putting the addition, when I say addition, I mean, rather than going up, going out the back, leaving the garage and expanding out to the back?
We did, but because the backyard or the rear yard is very small, we didn't want to sacrifice that space.
Well, okay, because it's a very awkward situation taking a garage out. And I mean, yes, Mr. Kennedy, I understand it is a non-conforming garage, but it's an existing garage nonetheless. And now you're going to park in the front of the house. And again, the dormers create a variance situation as well. So I just want to know if you considered going out the back, which may make could be a reasonable idea. All right, your decision. Okay, board members, any other question of the Michael?
Yeah, first a comment. I had, a few of the same questions you have asked, so they were some of my concerns too. Mr. Kennedy, on the land use citations, because I don't have them in front of me, when you say A, C, and, give letters, I don't really know what that is.
Certainly. I just want to make sure that there's a bit of a record for the, the positive and negatives and the purposes of zoning, but to A is the appropriate use of lands in a manner to promote health, public safety, and welfare. C is to provide adequate light, air, and open space. G is appropriate locations according to the respective environmental requirements in order to meet the needs of New Jersey citizens. H is the one I actually did list out. And then I, which is to promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design. That one really comes from the elimination of the front protruding visual garage, etc. That would be promoted by that one.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's clearer for the record. And if I didn't know what some of those were, I'm sure at least one other board member didn't know what you were citing. Thank you.
I have a question. Can I share my screen?
Well, wait, hold on one second, Stephen. Michael, are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Stephen, you can.
Let me just see if I can do this a minute. Can you see that picture?
Yeah, we
yes.
can. Yeah.
I'm just curious with the change in the roof line, how it would compare to the houses on the left and the right. I mean, I happen to like the design. I think it looks like the same house on the right. But I'm just wondering, are you going to be taller than these?
I don't know the exact height of the existing houses, but we'll obviously be under the height limitation.
Okay.
I don't think if we are taller, it wouldn't be by very much.
I mean, your proposed design looks a little bit like this house on the right-hand side, which is nice. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Board member, George, did you have a question?
No.
Okay, sorry. Board members, any other questions of Mr. Kennedy or the architect or the owner?
Yeah, I have one more question, just of interest, especially with putting a suite on a third floor, which, you know, I don't have a problem with that. I guess I was wondering, it seems like a lot of rooms for not too many people, unless you're planning to have a lot of visitors staying times over. You know, why adding a suite on top of 3 other bedrooms?
Yeah.
For a small family.
Yeah, fair question. I mean, as I mentioned before, my wife, due to her health condition, lives currently in another country, travels back and forth. She has a need, no matter how that develops, to have more private space for herself. So we're building, you can say, an additional room that's large enough to have some privacy, because the 3 bedrooms there are today, whereas the biggest one of them is my daughter, who is approaching teenager age, are very, very small. So not, you can say, not rooms where you can have privacy and your things and clothes. So that's the primary reason that this is what fits our family needs, and given that the current bedrooms on the existing first floor, with the exception of the one my daughter have, are very, very small.
Yeah, and I asked that question in the end, as it may relate to parking and how many cars this site you may be proposing or anticipating on a regular basis, or, you know, basically it's going to be more than 2 on a regular basis. You know, that's where I was asking questions.
Yeah. No, it's not going to be more than 2 on a regular. I mean, we are 2 adults in the house, at least for the next foreseeable period, given that my daughter is 9. So that's the standard, right? And we do expect and hope that my wife will join us in the summer, and when hopefully the new house is ready. That is what we are planning towards, and that's also part of this proposal.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? All right, Mr. Kennedy, I want to open this up to the public, but I want to let you say something before we do that.
much appreciated the opportunity as always. I think I summarized this up before. I won't bore you with hearing it again. Just thank you for your time this evening.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to open this up to the public. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to speak on behalf of this application, please indicate by pushing the raise your hand button at the bottom of the screen. Claudia, have you gotten any one that's indicated they want to speak?
Yes, 1 second, please.
Hello?
Mr. Turlo, can you start your video? Because we can't see you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I can do that. Did that
Alrighty.
work?
And we need to swear you in. And if you could also give us your address, if you're comfortable doing that, do you swear or affirm your testimony this evening will be truthful?
I do. And my
And
my address is 49 Markham Road, exactly next door to the applicant's property.
thank you.
Okay,
So, shall I?
please.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say that as the direct neighbor to the property, I'm strongly in favor of all the improvements that they're proposing. And I just want to share that the property has long been a rental property, and most of the tenants have always parked in the driveway. No one uses the garage. The property is just too small. The first floor is just too small and awkward. Everybody ended up storing stuff in the garage and parking 2 and even sometimes 3 cars in the front yard, and it never mattered to the neighborhood. So just sharing that as a point of a comment on how that's not really an issue for me as a neighbor. So again, I think it's really nice. It's a really nice plan. It's nice to see that the house will be improved and updated, and I don't think that the lack of the garage is an issue at all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Claudia, anyone else wishing to speak?
There are no more hands.
Okay, give it a second here. All right, we're going to close the public portion of the hearing. Again, Mr. Kennedy, before we go into executive session.
Again, I'll thank the board tonight and your professionals for helping this homeowner with this project getting to this point. Again, I hope you'll agree that this is a design that greatly improves on a problematic condition. You heard that there's really no other place to put cars, that this is how it's essentially people have always used it. Yes, someone did try to squeeze a garage here when this house was built on this exceptionally narrow lot. But the reality is, and we even heard from a neighbor, that it was really not big enough even to use. The reality is that people would park up front to remove that, which is a non-conforming condition, and replace it with usable space for people that you don't see as being car-centric, like the current design is front and center what a good portion of the neighborhood character zoning exercise went to address in Princeton. And by this application, we're righting that wrong with yes, a variance in its place, but one that we believe advances several purposes of the MLUL and creates a better product for the neighborhood. So with that, I'll just again thank you.
Okay, I do have one comment, Mr. Kennedy. I think you keep referring to it as an existing non-conforming front-facing garage, but you're removing it and putting another non-conforming use in its place. So
That is correct.
It's not, I'm not saying I object to it, but you're trading one for the other. Okay. We'll go into executive session now. Board members, any questions, comments, discussions, motions?
I guess I'll say something. I regularly have some concerns about legitimizing parking in the front in the setback. And I realize with this neighborhood, from the immediate part of it, there's a lot of cars parked in the front yard. I have no idea how many of them are legally parked and how many are illegally parked, but that's something we all understand, and it's nothing that can be policed. I do believe this lot is a narrow lot, and I don't see too many alternatives other than the garage or taking the garage use away and parking further in the front yard. I'd like to see if this ends up to being a two-car family on a regular basis, that they park in tandem. I don't think that's anything we can control, rather than parking stacked and only a few feet away from the sidewalk and pedestrians. But if they can fit two cars, and it's already paved for two cars.
It might be it might be too tight for one car behind the other.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can stipulate that, Karen, or not. I realize the zoning code only requires the provision of one spot, but approving a variance, something I was considering and encouraging. So that's all I'll say for now.
I think it would be difficult to enforce that. I'm not sure how.
Yeah. Yes, I probably should have said that too. Just like we can't enforce any of the front yard set parking, and we don't even try to, so.
Yeah. Any other comments, board members?
I agree with you, Michael. I like the way you put it, that I similarly don't, even if there's something of an ordinance or that I might not agree with, I still feel like I don't feel great about legitimizing something that is in conflict with what is on the books. But I think in reality, it makes so much sense. I mean, the reality is that people are not, well, that it's already happening, that's where the car is already being parked and others are. And I also it just seems like a better use of space to have living space rather than a garage on the first floor, in a sense. I like the design, and I think I don't think that there are really any other options, and it just seems like in some ways it is an improvement because the cars will be a little closer to the house rather than to the street. That seems like something of an improvement, but I also just think the design makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so I would be in favor. I'm in favor of approving this one.
Okay. Donna, excuse me. Yeah. Yeah.
So I do think it's a big improvement to the house. I think it is unfortunate to have two cars in front of the garage, but that kind of offsets the improvement to the house when you see the two cars in front of the garage. But it seems like we're improving the house, and allowing an existing parking condition to continue that is already, has been used that way for some time. I definitely don't see how cars could possibly be in tandem in that, on that driveway. They'd be sticking way into the apron, and crossing the front walk, the sidewalk, not the front walk. But
You mean stacked rather than next to each other? Is that what you're?
in tandem, so one behind the other. Yeah, I think that's what Michael was
No,
suggesting.
I'm saying tandem is one beside one another. And
Oh, I think
Oh,
of
okay.
tandem the other way.
Oh, I also thought, Michael, you meant one behind the other.
Yeah, that's how.
I would have said stacked if I
Oh,
Okay, no problem.
Okay, well, anyway, the only way they can be there is side by side, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So, two cars are unfortunate, but I'm not sure, that there's much to do about that. And I support the changes to the house.
Good. Thank you. Any other comments, or if someone would like to make a motion?
I move we approve.
A second. Okay. Any questions on the motion? Any conditions? Michael, do you want to put the side-by-side parking as a condition?
Yes.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Claudia, can you please call the roll?
Who seconded that?
I
did. Harlan.
Ms. Chen,
Yes.
Ms. Colson,
Yes.
Mr. Floyd,
Yes.
Mr. Shriver,
Yes.
Mr. Tenenbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Stein,
Yes.
Chairman Cohen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey,
Welcome to the community.
back.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. We have one more application this evening.
Is it too early to take a 5-minute break?
It's never too early. So, it's 8:33, 8:38 we'll reconvene.
Ryan, who do you need moved over?
If we could, sorry, I already moved the court report over. Thank you so much. Rishi Dar is our architect and Steve Leiden is our planner. If you move those two over as well.
Okay, it's 8:38. I think we're all back. Let's continue. Okay, Karen, are we all right?
Yes, the noticing is in order. The board has jurisdiction tonight.
Okay, so our next case is Z 25-667-10 Humbert Place, block 25.02, lot 77 in the R4B2 zone. Okay, the notices are in order. Ms. Gribben, can you summarize the case for us, please?
Now we're handing off on this one, so I'm gonna
Okay,
take this one. Thank you, Steve.
you're welcome.
Good evening. Property is located at 10 Humbert Place. The owner, SAI Associates LLC, is the applicant and owner. They are seeking a C1 variance for the construction of a new home atop an existing foundation, an exception to side yard setbacks and height to setback ratios. The applicant is proposing to construct a plus or minus 750 square foot two-story addition to an existing single-family dwelling, an exception to the required side yard setbacks and height to setback ratios. Property is not located within a historic district. It is in the R4B zone. It's subject to the use and bulk regulations of sections B17A, 254, 258, and 403 of the former Princeton Township Land Use Ordinance. Subject property is located on Humbert Place, which is a private road. The lot does not front on a public street, and accordingly, it does not have a front yard, lot width, or lot depth. The code defines a street as a public street, place, square, lane, or way with a minimum right-of-way of 25 feet set aside or used as a right-of-way for common street purposes. The front yard is defined as the portion of a lot extending open and unobstructed from ground level to the sky along a street line and from the street line for a depth set forth in the applicable district yard regulations. In accordance with the definitions, all the yards of the existing lot are considered side yards. And the lot is not complying with regard to the required 6,000 square foot lot area. The existing is 2758. The side setback on the northern elevation requirement is 12. The existing is 0.5 feet to the porch. A side setback south elevation requirement is 8 feet. The existing is 0.1 feet. Side setback west elevation is 8 feet. The existing is 0.9 feet. And the height to setback north elevation requirements 3-to-1. Existing is 26 to 3.8 or 6.84 to 1. Height setback on the south elevation, again, 3-to-1. Existing is 26 to 0.15. Or 173 to 173.33 to 1. The setback on the western elevation requirement is 3-to-1. The setback is 14.41 to 1. And then there's finally a distance between buildings, section B17A 382, which requires 10 feet. Existing is 9.4. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing 908 square foot two-story house down to the foundation. A new 1,647 square foot two-story dwelling will be constructed on the existing basement and a new crawl space. The existing front gable roof will be replaced with a shed roof, which slopes down from the west to the eastern elevation. The first floor features a kitchen, full bath, office, and living room. Second floor consists of 3 bedrooms and 2 full baths. Required parking spaces in the same location. It's a space on the lot. There's an existing driveway. Humbert is a private road, and it's the interpretation of the zoning officer that the variance is required pursuant to B17A 217. Restrictions on issuance, construction, or alteration of buildings on lots without access to streets. No zoning permit shall be issued for construction or alteration or any building upon a lot without access to a street except in the E2 district when the entire subject building is located more than 150 feet from the public street. A street is defined as any public street, place, square, lane, or a minimum right-of-way with 25 feet. It's used as a right-of-way for common purposes. The 16-foot wide Humbert Place does not meet the definition of a street, and a variance from this section is required. The applicant should demonstrate that the street is adequate to allow fire and emergency services. Okay, the following variances are required for this project. And I've kind of split down. You'll notice there's an existing one-story porch. And then there's the higher two-story addition. So since everything's being scraped to the ground, everything requires a variance. So we'll start with the side setback. The north elevation to the porch requirement is 12 feet. The proposed is 0.5 feet. North elevation to the two-story, again, setback is 12. The proposed is 2.3 feet to the overhang. Side setback, south elevation, the one-story requirement's 8 feet. The proposed is 0.1 feet. And that's the one-story. The south elevation two-story required setback is 8. The proposed is 0.5 feet. And the south side setback west elevation, the single-story requirement is 8 feet. Proposed is 0.9 feet. And the side setback on the western elevation, the two-story portion, the requirement is 8. The proposed is 3.3 feet to the overhang. And the height to setback for the north elevation requirement is 3 to 1. Proposed is 7.9 to 1. Setback, height to setback for the southern elevation, the one-story proposal is 130 to 1. The south elevation two-story proposal requirements 3.1. The proposed will be 60 to 1, excuse me. And the required elevation for the west elevation one-story, again, 3 to 1, and the proposed will be 14.44 to 1. And the height to setback, west elevation two-story requirement, 3 to 1. Proposed will be 6.25 to 1. And the distance between buildings, again, 10 feet, and the proposed is 9.4 feet. The application requesting relief under the C1 hardship variance criteria. And the applicant, I mean, it's come to our attention in the past couple of days that there's issues with access to the site. So we fully expect that to be discussed in length tonight. And there's an easement, and that easement is somewhat in question, as I'm sure you'll hear about as the case goes on. But that's a synopsis of my memo. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to address them.
Board members, any questions of Mr. Bridger? Okay, let's continue.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Derek and Taylor, once again, thank you so much for your work on this. Ryan Kennedy from Stevens and Lee for the applicants. Just a brief introduction before we start with our architect and planner here tonight. Ultimately, we are talking about renovations to a modest home built on a very interesting lot on Humbert Place. The lot is undersized. Essentially everything about the existing building from a setback perspective is non-conforming. A lot of that is exasperated by the unique situation where it does not actually front on a street, but instead fronts on a private right-of-way, essentially an easement allowing access for this property and the duplex next door to Humbert Street. As Mr. Bridger said, there actually is a dispute about that access. From this board's perspective, though, our suggestion is that it's essentially the same problem either way. Either there's an access issue for an existing home with no way to get to it, or essentially an access issue for a modified home. And we hope you'll agree that the modifications make sense and the variances, which again are all functions of the unique undersized lot, make sense to allow this investment in a modest property to bring it up to speed, to improve it for its use. In this case, it happens to be a Princeton couple who's bought it. They have hopes in perhaps future years to when they can fit into it, maybe they would move there, but ultimately it would be a rental until that occurs, but one that's been improved for the benefit of the neighborhood. And you'll hear tonight that it is, while physically expanding some, the number of bedrooms, the number of units, nothing from a measurable perspective in terms of density is changing. What's 3 bedrooms now will be 3 more usable bedrooms. And what's the first floor footprint that's quite tiny would be, as you'll see from our architect, improved so that it could be more usable for a family at this site. Many of the variances are a function of a positive element of the design. There is a duplex essentially next door that we will show you. The proposed design has a roof that essentially sheds water away from that rather than the current front gabled roof that was by design and intention. It does require, because it is in the same location of the current roof, home, and walls, which are all variance conditions, to go up slightly higher with the sloping design that would channel water kind of away from the neighbor and into the rest of the applicant's property. We feel is a benefit. We'll go through that. So tonight we've got two witnesses. Perhaps we'll have them both sworn in now. Our architect and planner. So if we could, Ms. Casey, I believe they're both on at the moment.
Sure. Ms. Dar and Mr. Lyden, do you swear or affirm your testimony this evening will be truthful?
Yes, I do.
I do as well. Steve Lyden.
Thank you.
Before we show up our exhibits, Ms. Dar, if you could introduce yourself to the board and give the board the benefit of your credentials. I've accepted as an expert here tonight.
Sure. Good evening, members of the zoning board. My name is Ruchi Dhar. I'm a licensed architect representing my client tonight. I hold a bachelor's degree in architecture. I'm also LEED certified and also NCARB certified. I hold license in 3 states, which is New York, New Jersey, and Maryland. My licenses are active and in good standing, and I've testified before many zoning and planning board in New Jersey. My professional address is 81 Falcon Road, Livingston, New Jersey.
We'll accept you as an expert.
Thank you so much. Mr. Chair, if we could again, we've got, I believe, 18 slides that we provided in advance. If it's okay to share my screen and we can have that marked as our one exhibit this evening.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Members of the board, as we often do, we start with the property and the zoning map. Ms. Dar, the arrow seems to have disappeared here. Usually I put an arrow here. Oddly, that's removed from my screen, but you can say this is in the R4
That's
former
correct.
borough zoning district. All right, thank you so much.
Yes.
Oh, one of my assistants was fancy with the transitions. I usually don't employ such visual techniques, but so that arrow that appeared as if from nowhere, that shows the property that we're talking about.
Yep, that's correct.
Next moving slide 3. This is an aerial photo, and I'm going to skip again. I believe my assistant got a little fancy on us, but that blue arrow points to 10 Humbert Lane. Is that the property we're talking about?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, and again, moving now to slide 4. Again, zooming in a little bit further, and then with the arrow, that's the property we're talking about expanding and renovating.
Yes.
And maybe just since we have this on here with the tax map overlaid, this in front, that's what we've been calling Humbert Place, that private easement and right-of-way that is either allows access or perhaps if it were to be invalidated, does not. That's what this is here.
That's correct.
And then just moving, from this house towards Humbert Street, 6 and 8 Humbert, that is a duplex next door that similarly uses that private easement.
Yes, that's right. They use the private lane.
And then behind the property, I think we'll have another photo that shows that, but that is essentially the multifamily building next door that fronts to Humbert. That's their parking area. Is that correct?
Yes.
And your understanding is that their access is to Jefferson, to the right off screen by this alley that goes behind our property. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. All right. From a different view, slide 5 here, this kind of shows that again, the home in question here at 10 Humbert Place. I think this arrow, the orange arrow, is meant to show from their current parking area through the private right-of-way to Humbert Street itself, and then shaded in the parking area for the multifamily building next, I'll say next door, but further down on Humbert that goes to Jefferson, actually. Is that right?
Right.
And does this property have any access or touch that alley that goes to Jefferson?
No.
No, okay. So moving into the home itself, maybe talk a little bit about what we're looking at here, the existing home.
Okay. So very briefly, this is an existing home, 2 stories, has a basement. The existing first floor is 478 square feet. The second floor that's existing is 415 square feet. What we are doing is basically keeping the basement of the existing house and rebuilding above it and doing a proposed addition next to it where you see the porch roof. That's where the addition is going to come up. We are also changing the roof design so that the rainwater does not shed towards the neighbor, but away from the property on the west side of on the east side of the property, and basically doing a nice modest addition to this house. We will have 3 bedrooms and about 3 bathrooms for this property.
I'll move next to slide 7. This is I guess on the left, that's a photo kind of looking from the parking area in the yard. I hesitate to say side because this house doesn't have any sides or fronts, as it turns out. But looking at the existing house. And what are we looking at the right here? That's the space between the existing home and the duplex next door?
Right. So we are redoing the steps. We'll just redo them and basically keep the basement and rebuild. What we are also trying to achieve is doing a fire rated construction. It would be 1 hour fire rated construction for the house because of the proximity to the neighbor and the lot line. So basically trying to minimize the number of windows facing the neighbor and also making the wall construction as 1 hour fire rated.
And I guess we'll talk about the roof design in a bit, but this is that space between the properties that would be, I suppose, benefited or there'd be a positive change, I suppose, by that shed roof, if that's the right term, but the roof that would kind of shed water away from this area?
Right, that's correct.
All right, so tell us what we're looking at here on slide 8.
So that's the front and the rear elevation of how it would be with the proposed addition. It would be basically if this is the left side is the neighbor, the roof is going in the opposite direction. It's a shed roof, keeping the water away to be collected in between the space between the neighbor and this house. And basically the wall construction would be 1 hour rated. Like I said, minimizing the number of windows that are facing the neighbor. And most of the windows would be facing the Humbert Place lane side. And the main entrance would be through the steps that you see. That's the front door. The side entrance would be mostly used to take out the garbage from the house. And towards the right is the rear elevation where we don't have the any windows because of the location of the house on pretty much very close to the lot line. And the IRC doesn't allow you, if it's too close to the house, you don't give windows or any window or any fenestration. So that's what we've respected. No windows are on that face. So yeah, pretty much most of the windows are, I'll go through the other elevations also.
And just as a reminder, the rear, what we'll call the elevation that faces away from Humbert Place, that's the one that faces that multifamily parking area?
Yes, that's right.
So then this is a side-by-side of the existing and proposed, attempting to show how the addition will kind of fill in the area where the existing porch is.
Yes, so pretty much where the existing porch is on that side, we're extending on that side and reconfiguring the interior layout of the house, which has 3 bedrooms on the upper floor now, and most of the first floor is all living, kitchen, and dining spaces. So this is a side facing towards what is called as the yard, the side yard. It has a couple of steps leading to that area. The area where you see the roof hatch from the basement is where the new proposed addition would take place. So these are the new steps in that area. The sliding door, a few windows facing, having getting nice light and air into the house, and and then the roof sloping towards this yard, basically. This is from the neighbor's side, the elevation. Like I said, minimum windows on that side. Mostly one of the window is a bathroom window, and one is this where the staircase ends. That's the door for taking out the garbage from the house.
And that's essentially the existing condition minus changing the roof line to
Yes.
pull the water away and reducing the windows,
Yeah.
To
Correct.
be, I suppose, more neighborly to the house directly next. So close. This next, I guess, is a rendering of the properties, show the materials that are proposed.
Yeah, so most of the materials are vinyl siding, board and bat, asphalt shingles, and double glazed windows. We're just trying to improve the how the house looks. Aesthetically, it's going to look better. With the roof line, it's going to cater to the storm, the rainwater away from the neighbor. And material wise and look wise, and even the plan, the layout wise, it would make sense to now use it as a good space for more light and air. Circulation wise, it makes sense to have nice 3 bedrooms fitted on the second floor with bathrooms that are adequately sized.
Excellent.
That's on the side elevation facing the side yard.
And I suppose your rendering software does add some trees where there's probably a
The road,
roadway
yes.
To the left. But this would be the door that, from the parking area where someone would enter the property, likely with their groceries or use the backyard
Correct.
or side yard. I don't know if there's a back here. So next, as we think about the variances here, this kind of site plan tells a lot of the story of the variances. So maybe we could just talk a bit. So in gray, that's the existing home, and then in hatched is the proposed addition.
That's right.
So while variances are required for even the new two-story part, it does step back a bit from the lot line ahead of, I suppose, the existing building. Is that correct?
That's right.
And with a 12-foot setback or 8-foot setback, there really is not a lot of place to put anything on this property that would not have removed the ability to have a parking spot or a yard or really any usable side yard space.
Yeah, that's right. Because the way the house is sitting currently on the lot, it creates those non-conforming conditions. And what we try to keep is make the house more safer, which is basically making it 1 hour fire rated, and then also addressing how the layout would be and would make sense for the owner in terms of the entire house plan.
Got it. And so as far as access from Humbert Place, what you've shown here essentially is the existing access plan. There's really no changes to that whatsoever. It's really the existing driveway opening is where it is now. Is that correct?
So the existing was all the gravel that was there on site. typically they either park on the lane or on the inside. They have the space. So it was a basically a gravel driveway existing.
Great, and that will be both reduced in size a bit, but essentially cleaned up to what's proposed here.
Correct.
With the
Reconfigured, yeah, to make sense, at least for a 9x18 parking spot to be to fit well into that area. Yes.
essentially though, that's where someone would park now with the current home, and that's not really changing.
Yeah.
Next, going into the floor plans. I guess this is the existing on the left and the proposed first floor on the right. I want to just kind of take the board through, what's changing programmatically and
Sure. So the steps, we're keeping it, the front step and the side steps. The outline of the first floor stays in place because we are keeping the basement. What we are taking out is the entry porch and the metal hatch from the basement. On the right side, you see the dark gray area. That's the addition, which basically gives the space for the kitchen and the entryway and couple of steps going into that driveway area or where the car is parked. So basically on the first floor, we have one office, bathroom, kitchen, and a living space.
And I think you went over this when we were looking at the front facades, but ultimately the idea with the entrances is you've got the existing kind of front entrance that's being just relocated slightly into the addition. The new entrance that would connect to the parking and yard here on the right, and then again the existing place where people would, I guess, take the trash out to the alley.
That's correct.
Next on slide 16, we've got the existing 3 second floor bedrooms, and then maybe talk through that and the proposed 3 bedroom second floor.
So on the left, we have the existing plan that has the bedroom, some middle space that kind of was used by the family as putting some space for as a living space. On the right, we have the 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a washer dryer, and steps taking you down to the first floor. There is also pull-down ladder for the attic, and attic is mostly used for the storage of the HVAC unit and nothing else. So
I didn't mean to, if you had anything else before we got to the slide.
yeah, quickly, I just wanted
Sure.
to say that the gray area is what basically got added to the second floor.
Got it. But what is effectively 3 bedrooms, but squozing up on the third floor, or excuse me, third floor on the second floor is going to be 3 still quite modest, but more usable bedrooms.
Right, and we basically adding bathrooms. Yeah.
Okay. Before we get to any questions, just so we have it out there, I guess this
I
is
have a
the
question.
Oh, sure.
How many cars are required to be parked?
Just the one.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep. Before we get to our planning testimony, just anything else you want to add? I know Mr. Bridger went through in great detail the variances that are needed, but for anything in particular you want to add to that? Maybe now's the time, particularly, there's a couple of different buckets of these variances, but really they relate to the existing conditions and I suppose an attempt to step back a bit and improve.
I think we're just proposing a nice modest addition, and it's going to be a nicer looking building. It would cater to at least 3 bedrooms for the homeowner with adequate sized bathrooms. The finishes, the materials that are used on the facade are also something that would be vinyl siding and board and bat siding with asphalt shingle roof, and it would give a nice look in the neighborhood for this building to be there. So I think it's a good, nice addition to the neighborhood.
Just a question on that. You show 2 different elevations. You show the front, you show 2 different drawings of the front elevation or the the alley side elevation. I assume it's going to be the last the last one you showed?
This is the
So-
front elevation.
So, sorry,
No, then the other color elevation, that is a little different than the other one. This is going to be what you're going to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is very similar to the 2D elevation. This was something generated by AI using some landscape features. But if we go with the two-dimensional elevation, that's how the house is going to look, which is basically board and bat siding and vinyl siding with
The
shed
roof. Is the roof overhang going to be as you show it on this drawing or the other drawing?
So, Ryan, if you can go back to the 2D elevations. The roof overhang is going to be 1 feet 6 inches if projecting out from the face of the building. But wherever it is touching the property line, we are not doing the 1 feet 6 inch overhang. So like if you see the one-story structure, we are not projecting it out because apparently if we do that, it would be crossing the lot line or very close to the lot line. So we deliberately did that wherever it doesn't affect the lot line. We projected it 1 feet 6 inches. But where it's very close to the lot line, we don't do that. We don't project it 1 feet 6 inches.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Before we get to our planner, I don't mean to presume, but if there are any other questions, I'll certainly have our architect available before we switch to our next.
I just have one on the site. The way you park on this in the property, it's kind of awkward. It looks like by the positioning of the car, the way it's shown, you'd have to drive past the driveway and make kind of a reverse U-turn into the property. Why can't you just come off of the roadway at 90 degrees and park that way? Because you have a very tight area between it's just awfully tight between the side steps and the drive. And if that car is positioned properly, you'd have to back in to get to it.
Like I mentioned, this private lane is narrow. So the way the car comes out, the way the car comes in, they will most likely have to reverse and come out the same way. It's a narrow lane, and that is something, I mean, that is a situation where these houses are given a narrow lane. So my answer would be that the way they come in, that's how the same way they go out.
I don't understand. The way this looks to me, it looks to me that you drive up the alley, you pass the driveway entrance, and then you put it in reverse and back in and turn. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think they can take a 90-degree turn. They back out and then they back at the same direction the way they came in. So because the lane is quite narrow, so that's how they basically have to come the way they come in inside the lane. They come and they park. That's how they turn, and they can't take a 90-degree turn and then keep the car out.
You have the land you have the property that you could create a turnaround there. I mean, I understand that the lane is narrow, but you have enough room on your property to compensate for that.
The one of the other factors is also the impervious coverage. So if I have to increase the asphalt paving, the impervious coverage, we have to be careful of the percentage that is there as per the zoning. I believe it's 60% of the site. So that was also another factor where we have to be careful of not to exceed the impervious coverage.
You're nowhere near 60% of the site.
I'm
I
sorry?
don't think, I mean, maybe you are, but it looks to me like unless you're paving most of the property, you've got a lot of land there.
So
Yeah, as per the calculation, I think we were exceeding. If we extend the driveway a lot, where I can take a 90-degree turn for this car, we would basically be affecting the impervious coverage for this lot.
well, maybe just respond a little bit to what at I think the chairman's point, which I think is a good one. And ultimately, I think we've documented the current condition. I think what I'm hearing though is that there is room to create a more navigable space on the property, frankly. And if there's more room in our impervious coverage, we'd certainly look at that. We prefer not to ask for a variance. We may have some room to play with the parking spot layout a bit to perhaps allow either a K-turn or a different orientation that might make sense.
Is the site, obviously the existing building and the addition are impervious coverage. The side steps are impervious, and the area you've defined as the parking space is impervious coverage. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the rest of the site is what?
Rest would be the grass, which would be the around this area.
Okay. All right. If it's 60%, I mean, it seems to me that you're way under 60%. But look, it's just what concerns me is how awkward it is to get into that parking space functionally. And I think you have the space to resolve it so it's easier to maneuver. But
I honestly, Mr. Chairman, I think that's a good point. And, with the limit being coverage, that's something we can certainly look at and work with staff on if the board were inclined to approve this.
Definitely.
The existing,
all right.
We're not really changing the existing footprint between the porch and that Bilco door. So it is really the existing condition. And then I think where the mouth or apron, I suppose, onto the lane is kind of fixed as per the easement, but we do have room, I think, on the site. We prefer not to pave too much of it. But I think that's a good point, and we can look at that, again, as long as we don't create a variance condition, we have some room to go there.
I don't think what you show, I don't have a problem with what you're saying, Mr. Kennedy, but it doesn't seem to me that parking situation works. But that's if you resolve it with the staff and the our engineering staff, then I'm comfortable with it.
I have a question.
Yes, please, Michael.
Yeah, and it's related. Just for clarity, see this particular diagram shows the car backing into the spot.
Right.
Is that inaccurate? I would imagine you're just going to drive head into the spot, which, is you don't have to drive past the driveway entrance. So I'm questioning whether that's an accurate depiction with it being backed in.
Well, it's interesting, Michael. I mean, I'll let
Now,
them.
that was for the architect.
No, okay. I'll let him answer or her answer, and then I have a comment. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Can you answer Mr. Floyd's question, please?
The car comes through the driveway, the alley, and comes in, and when it has to come out, it would turn in the same direction and come out. So I understand that that's a narrow.
No, that's not the question. The question is the car coming down, Humbert Place to the driveway entrance and driving onto the property head first, or back going past the entrance as the chairman was worried about? See, this picture shows it being backed into the parking space, and I don't know how you do that.
It would go in head first. I mean, that's
what I thought. That's
the
confusion.
So, is it really more just an artifact of how your site software kind of just decided to put a car there rather than meaning to show that's how it would be parked necessarily?
Okay.
But Michael, further to your question, if they come in, the car is shown with the front of the car facing the addition. So if they drive in the other way, which is practical, then coming out, they'd have to go out and turn into the alley, or they're going to have to back all the way down the alley. I mean, it's a screwy situation, but I don't think it's properly thought out. It needs to be resolved.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Any questions, Michael?
I guess my only question, but I trust, well, you want to save the existing house. You know, originally I thought you were taking it down to the foundation because there's some reference to that, but
It is being taken down to the
It
foundation.
is. It
Come on.
is, Mr. Floyd. They're taking down the entire house.
And then they talk another place where they're just renovating the existing. Okay, well, I'm glad I now understand that. Then it does get to my question, why not just build a new house, reorient it lengthwise on the site? Did you look at that, I guess is the question. Because all these variances,
I believe, I mean, even if we would have completely demoed it from the basement itself, there were still variances being kicked in because right here we don't have a clear front yard, we don't have a clear backyard, because we are facing a private lane. So the variances would still get kicked in, and we were taking a sustainable approach in terms of keeping what's existing, what we can keep, and then rebuilding and making it more safer from the basement above.
well, wouldn't it, I don't know, but wouldn't it be less variances if you built new but rotated the house lengthwise like the lot is?
So one of the concerns there,
Okay.
one, you see in red the building envelope. So conceivably, I think what you're suggesting, and this is an excellent thought, is could not a new structure be built in that envelope? And while something could be designed there, the other constraint of this lot is the access, and the current portion where this lot is permitted access under the easement into the private lane is as shown here and fixed. The part further back is available for use otherwise by the fee owner of the easement, and the other parts are under the easement available for I'll call street parking, I suppose, in other circumstances. So it is the entry to the site is dictated by a fixed location where that's the only place that access could be created where it is existing. So that's what led to the existing reusing the existing footprint essentially.
Okay, I think I understand that. So you're saying the easement, if it does exist, only goes to the driveway entrance and then it stops there?
Correct. There is a kind of a complicated set of arrangements where there is, again, I don't want to get too much into the details because we're not necessarily talking about the street parking. The one spot that this one needs is the one that we're talking about on our site. But there are, the easement does provide for locations where access is not permitted other than what we're talking about essentially.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I think Michael's point is very well on point. Turning that house and putting it within that red boundary is a very good solution. And you could pull in that spot that's there and go straight in. This is a very forced situation. Obviously, it's your choice, but it seems a very complicated situation, and the way the drive in is very awkward. Who owns the alleyway?
The adjacent property owner. So there are three, or actually four, property owners in this neighborhood. There's a dispute between the three or four of the owners, the duplex to the left, this property, and the one who is, I'll just say, burdened by the easement.
I'm wondering, in light of Mr. Floyd's comment, if the applicant would be interested in kind of going back and revisiting these plans.
Well, certainly, subject to any further feedback we got, that we get from the board. These are comments that are helpful, and I'm certainly not dismissing them. But we have a little bit more time. Maybe we just make sure we get some of the comments from our planner out there, but then we can regroup and see, the only concern I've got, I just want to make sure our architect, while on their face, I think the Mr. Cohen and Mr. Floyd's comments make a lot of sense. I would like our architect to react a little bit just about, the other constraints that while, taking a modest sized home and kind of turning it and reducing some of the variances, I just don't know physically is possible without removing the access, but I may be misunderstanding the suggestion.
If I could, because as I think more about my suggestion, in light of what you said about the shortened easement for your entrance to the parking, if you rotate the house and push it to the back part of the lot and have your parking between the current entrance and Humbert Street, basically switching the entrance, it's still within the easement, but having the house on the right-hand side.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I see. So that they would enter, but instead of where this right arrow points you to the back where people park now, kind of point you back to the, towards the duplex, essentially.
Yeah, you'd be closer to Humbert Street, the parking.
No, that again, I'll say helpful feedback. This is we're not.
Yeah, and I say that in light of all these variances you want.
No, understood.
Mr. Kennedy, just for clarification, is your architect, Ms. Dar, is she going to address the question that Mr. Bridger has raised? He had indicated he believed you need a variance, and that the applicant should demonstrate, can the street, is it adequate, Humbert Place, to allow fire and emergency access? Will she be able to address that, or is your planner?
We'll have we will have some planning testimony on that if we get to that point. Yeah.
It seems kind of obvious to me, Mr. Kennedy, that as currently applied, there are some challenges going forward. And as you've appeared before us many times, it's not uncommon for applicants to kind of regroup when they're getting feedback that is valuable and beneficial for their project to move forward. If you deem it advisable for us to listen to the planner and everybody else, great, I'm happy to do it. It just seems to me that there are some tea leaves that can be read at this point, and I'm wondering if it's worth reading them.
Much appreciated. If you want to give us a moment to group on our end, we're happy to do that. I'll as I always do, thank the board for their feedback and candor. We, as our goal to collect as much of it as possible if we were to regroup, of course.
Sure.
I guess I want to throw some other tea leaves in here because I did hear a couple of things that I thought that I would say that we want to be concerned about having, tons of variances that have to be approved. But at the same time, I did hear, and maybe you could speak, the architect could speak a little bit more about the idea that they were trying to keep sustainability in mind in preserving and working with the foundation that was already there. And seeing that red outline, it seems like it's hard for me to totally visualize, but but it seems like there would be far less green space, outdoor space. So just in terms of the livability aspect, I think that needs to be considered as well. So my contribution of tea leaves is that I wouldn't say that we haven't heard from everybody and we don't always weigh in at this point, but I'm not one of the ones who's saying rethink it and come back later.
Yeah,
Yeah, this-
sustainability was like one of those important things where we wanted to keep the foundation of the house the way it is and develop the house, keeping the footprint of the house as is and adding to it. But I completely respect the board's suggestions tonight in terms of the variances that get kicked in, and we're going to look at it again and talk about it after the meeting.
Ms. Dar, just for clarification for the board, so your testimony is the applicant keeping the entire foundation?
Yes,
Or-
the existing is staying. We are doing the addition to it. The addition would have the new crawl space and new foundation.
So, okay. But what the house, and when I say the house, I mean everything above the foundation, that's all going to be removed, correct?
Right, and we were making it 1 hour fire rated because of the proximity to the neighbor. We were making it more safer in terms of the construction.
Okay.
I just want to make sure, in light of what our counsel has said, the existing part of the house, not the porch, the existing part of the house, is coming down also. So everything is coming down to the foundation, both sides. The porch is coming off, and the 3-story house is coming down.
The crawl space and the foundation is staying for the existing house.
Yes, I understand
Everything
that.
else is getting rebuilt, yes.
Okay, so, all right. Okay, so how do you want to go on from here? Do you want to have your planner talk, or do the three of you want to discuss this and come back to us in a couple of minutes and let us know how you want to proceed?
If you could give us a few minutes, Mr. Chairman, we'll see. We do have our planner here, but if we're going to be talking about ultimately something drastically different in the future, I don't want to waste your time with planning testimony on something that would potentially change a bit. So if perhaps we could have 5 minutes and return, if that's all right.
Sure. I'll just quickly add that I agree with Eve's point about, there seem to be valid reasons for the approach that was taken to keep the existing foundation and work with that. So I'll let you go.
Thank you. And I'll just
Michael?
note that
I just have one more question, because I just don't know. How much of a positive impact on sustainability is it to keep, a rather small cinder block foundation, assuming it's cinder block? I just don't know. You make people, it sounds like it's a substantial impact, but is that really what people are meaning to say? The whole house is going, yeah, you don't have to get rid of some concrete blocks or something, but that may be of big value. So educate me.
To your point, and to Ms. Chen and Ms. Coulson's points, all of which are I think spot on. If this were to be redesigned drastically, obviously we would be showing that differently with a different set of variances. Or if it turns out that, looking at this, we have different information to justify this current or similar design, what we hear is that you're going to want to see more information about the maneuverability and the parking. And if it really is, to Mr. Floyd's point, the whether it's the environmental or locational benefit or even the planning benefit of massing the site as it is now, we should have some things differently to show that that aren't on screen at the moment. Is what I'm taking away from those comments.
All right, so
it would also, excuse me.
Go ahead, Stephen.
It would also be nice if you could give an estimate of how many variances you would need for a new location versus this one, because a lot of these are not going to go away just by rotating the building.
That's fair, and I think accurate, though it's hard to say, obviously, without doing a little work, that from shooting from the hip, that would be challenging. I think your point is, like everything that we've heard tonight, is generally pretty accurate. There's almost no chance that there won't be some subset or even similar number of variances. It may be that some of them are diminished in quantity or altered. But a site like this with a building envelope like we're talking about, unless we were to have no usable yard space or parking and massed a building foolishly, I don't mean it that way, but right in the center, would kind of render everything else kind of pointless and useless. And absent that, and even with that, we would still need some variances. So again, your point is spot on. I wish I could say, rotating it, we would go to 6 variances or some number. We may come back with that and say, like, here's an alternative that we've looked at, and it requires X, and maybe that X is quite a bit less. The point is, it may be the same even after we've looked at it.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kennedy, how much time would you like?
So I think 5 should do it.
All right, let's just say it's almost 9:35. It's like 9:34. So we'll say at 9:40 we'll reconvene.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Okay, so board members, 5 or 6 minutes. Thank you.
Chairman Cohen, I'm getting some notifications that my internet isn't stable. Will it be okay if I called in from my phone?
At this point, yeah, I mean, we're probably it's up to you. Yes, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I don't know really, Karen, can Harlan still vote if it comes to that this evening, if he's on his phone?
I mean, I guess if you're on your phone, you'll be able to see, correct, Harlan?
Yes.
Any additional?
Should be.
I think as long as the applicant does not have an objection, that shouldn't be a problem. So,
I mean, I'll stay on this as long as I
right,
have
as long as it stays stable.
Yeah, I'm just getting
The other question I had, Stephen, we'll raise this again when the applicant rejoins us, but I do see there are members of the public, and I don't know if it would be a good idea to open it to comment tonight.
Well, I think we have to get the plan they're going to propose.
At least one person whose name I see is someone who had already contacted staff saying he wanted to make objection. So, I don't know the extent to which it's helpful or not, but
it's let's see what
Sure.
the applicant comes back
And
with,
it
because
has an issue, it's an issue with regard to access.
yeah, I know, and that needs to be explained, but I don't think we know enough about this project yet to really make an informed decision.
Okay.
With the person from the public's previous comments to staff, does it indicate that that person has a legal involvement with the easement?
Right.
Well, might be good to get some clarity.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important, actually.
And to get it on the record.
Yeah. All right, it's 9:40. I think we've got to reconvene now. You're muted, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Again, as probably anticipated, much appreciate all the feedback we got here. We would like to carry the meeting so we can come back possibly with an alternative design, and showing, the kind of conceptual thinking we could take the board through. I don't mean in a concept so much as, either what could work, that's different, or more likely the kind of the story of why these alternatives don't work and don't result in fewer variances. So if we do think we can kind of turn that around in short order. So if it's possible to carry us to a date certain, we would certainly appreciate that, but we would like to return with some additional information for you.
Okay. So thank you. Karen, I have a question in light of Michael's comment. Can we actually hear from the public on this application now?
Well, you have members of the public who have come to make a comment. I appreciate that Mr. Kennedy's indicating the applicant has some additional thoughts about this and they want to come back. Since at least one of these people in the audience had previously advised staff that they wanted to come and raise objection, and it is in connection with the access easement. The board may want to consider hearing these folks because they're here tonight.
No, I think,
and while it may change, while the design of the house may change now, these comments may be helpful to the applicant as well.
I
So,
agree with you. I agree with you. As long as you feel we can hear them, I think it makes sense to do it. Okay, how do we do that?
well, I guess you can open it to public comment. You know,
All
it
right.
doesn't mean everybody who's here may want to comment, but
All right, so at this point, we're going to open up this hearing to members of the public to comment. Claudia, has anybody indicated they'd like to speak?
No, Mr. Chairman. There was a person, but they dropped. They're not there anymore.
Okay. Well, we'll wait a second here to see if they reappear.
Well, what was the name of the person that contacted staff? And is that person in the audience?
they don't appear to be in the audience anymore.
Okay.
They're gone. So they no longer appear.
Okay.
All right, so they're not here. Okay. All right. Would Mr. Kennedy, would you like to explain this easement to us?
At this moment, would you, I want to be careful not to testify, and maybe when we return, that would be a good place to start more testimony on. I mean, I'm happy to make some
Okay,
general representations about it. It is a matter of public record, and perhaps the board can take notice and be guided by. I want to be careful and not provide testimony or something that seems like testimony, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. So you're asking for a continuance. Do we, Mr. Bridger, Ms. Gibbons, do we have a date that we can assign?
You're muted, Derek.
Yeah, I know. March 25th.
Okay.
Many thanks for I know that's a busy calendar, and this actually is a dense neighborhood, so it is quite meaningful not to have another stack of green cards. We're much appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And we'll see you in March. That is the extent of our agenda this evening. So we are adjourned.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Night.